In 2025, King was just like a lot of us, unemployed and job searching just to have an income source. He started selling on Amazon just to pass some time while applying to jobs, not knowing that a year later he would be doing this full time, allowing him to build a consistent and sustainable income source, which gave him the freedom to spend more time with his family and loved ones. In this video, I'll break down exactly how he went from unemployed to full-time seller and all the lessons you can take away to help you achieve your own freedom through selling on Amazon. What's up, everyone? We're with my student King here. He's been with me since I think February, and he just had a crazy record month. I think a little over 75,000, maybe $80,000 in revenue. And we're gonna just be on this video to kind of talk about what he did before, how he got started, if he has any tips and tricks for everyone, and just kind of talking about his own personal business here and everything. And yeah, and I think his Instagram is right there at Everyday Hustle King. So if you guys can, please give him a follow. You think he's been posting a lot of content, especially specifically short form on Instagram here and everything. But yeah, first things first, like what were you doing before Amazon and everything like that?
Yeah. So before I did this, right before I was actually looking for a job as a software engineer. So it was
Okay.
quite a rough time. Did one of those boot camps, spent over a year looking for a job, and I was kind of just like, might as well do something on the side. Well, I can only apply to so many jobs in a day. I can only do so much lead code, so might as well do something else on the side that could make me a little bit of money. So I started looking into this as one of my avenues, and I actually did this all on my own to start off with. Right, I just followed your YouTube videos. I followed some of Miles' YouTube videos, and I was just looking into it on my own. And I decided that this seems like something that's pretty doable. It's like very simple to start up. Just need a couple softwares and buy a product and test it out. And it kind of just started working. And
Yeah.
I figured out, I think I need a little bit more help to figure out how to scale this up. Like I figured out how to get a product, how to get a sale, but how do I get more? How do I build this out? So that's when I reached out to you, and the rest is history.
Yeah. What do you think that progression was like when you kind of start off on your own and kind of realized that you wanted help scaling, and then when joined the whole program and everything like that, kind of the timeline it took to really figure it out and actually scale it to a full-time income like you have done so
Yeah.
far?
Yeah, I think like the first half year is kind of just it's just grind. It's just learning the ins and outs. For me personally, that path was probably the best. Like I'm the kind of guy who likes to really know how to do things myself. Like I hate being like just given something and being like, this is exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to like kind of go through the struggle a little bit. Um, so for me, I think the timeline was a little longer than the average person, right? So I was like spending a lot of time like in the weeds, not knowing how to do things, and forcing myself to learn how to do things.
Right.
That includes like massively trying to ungate every single brand I've ever seen on Amazon, spending like hours on the day just
Yeah.
copy and pasting ASINs. Um, but
For sure.
I think the timeline itself is kind of like maybe like three months in to kind of get a
Yeah.
handle on
Exactly.
things, especially if you're have a community or if you have help. So I think for like the average person, the best thing to do is really to just get somebody who has been through the process and kind of every time you hit a roadblock, they're able to just like lift that up for you. And that's pretty much what happened to me. I think so. For me, it was like I set up my account. I spent a month or two kind of learning the ins and outs. Sold my first product, made probably $500 to $1,000 in the first month or so, and I reached out and I was like, hey, how do I how do I find another product, right? And like I think learning sourcing is major for new sellers.
Awesome. Yeah. And then yeah, when you joined the program, did you have any like expectations for the year and like goals, and would you say you surpassed them and made your investment back, or what is your your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly wish I had like a big goal in the beginning of the year, so I could look back and be like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
came into this year wanting to do
yeah,
X. I really wasn't expecting. I didn't have really any expectations, right? Like you see so much online these days of people just saying random stuff, making stuff up. So
yeah,
it's like, but I've honestly followed your story before I was even that interested in selling on Amazon. Right,
yeah,
and that's like really like the really cool thing about social media nowadays. You could really just follow someone's story from like
mm,
0 to 1. And
yeah,
I remember you. I mean, you're already selling a lot. You're just like, I want to inspire people
yeah,
to.
yeah,
And I've like even I think 5 years ago, I was like, oh yeah, Amazon seems interesting, but I never like was willing to take the jump. And the more I saw about it, the more and more kind of
yeah, yeah. I think yeah, every dude that's kind of like into money or into like online business has like thought about starting an Amazon business because it is like the biggest like platform for people to buy and sell in the entire world practically. And yeah, I was selling for a long time before I even started making content, but it's cool to kind of see like almost like a branch of like people making actual real money. Like we have Peter, like that dude's in high school. We have Josh, we have a bunch of people making actually close if not full-time income. And it kind of started for me just wanting to kind of share my own story and not for any purpose besides like kind of trying to have a full circle moment, because how I learned was same as you, just watching. Just one time I was just on on my phone and just saw some dude talking about Amazon, and I was like, this kind of makes sense, and I kind of learned from him. And now I'm able to use my own knowledge from the 3 or 4 years I've been learning and building my own business, and to share that knowledge with other people and seeing like, yeah, like they take the knowledge and they actually use it, and then they ask me questions every single day, and then after 3 months they're like kind of on their own, and they just post a screenshot of doing like $75,000 in revenue in a month. And that's honestly a great feeling. It's like really fulfilling for me as as a mentor and a coach to actually have successful people in your program, right? Because that just shows that you actually know what you're doing. And it's yeah, you can't delay that. Like for the first month I was like, is this working? But eventually this year, I'm seeing like the success stories of my previous students, and it's honestly an amazing feeling. But yeah, I mean, let's move on. I guess, how much are you making on Amazon currently, and how many hours are you actually putting in a week? I know it might be a little bit skewed because it was quarter 4, and December you were kind of in the trenches. Like I said, you would be like, I remember you texting me. You're like, how did you do this? This is terrible. But yeah, how many hours are you working on average, and how many hours? I mean, how many hours are you on average working a week, and how much are you currently making?
yeah. I think like you said, it's very skewed, especially since this is my first year in the business.
Yeah.
So I guess to put it in perspective, I made about $15,000 this month,
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
then about $30,000 on the quarter, and $50,000 on the year. Right, so very very skewed. Where
Right.
over half my income came from this quarter, and like over or almost a third of my income
Hmm.
was from this month alone. Um, and I think throughout the year, if you kind of go the FBA route and have Amazon take care of your fulfillment, and even further on, if I was to get a prep center and take care of all that, it's the work. So I don't want to undersell it because I have in the past.
Yeah.
I've told people, hey, this is so easy. I spend like
Hmm.
2 hours a day, and they try and they're like, oh, this is a lot of work. And there are days where you are working, right? But I think it's definitely less than
Yeah.
a full time, or you get to break it up, right? Like people always joke like, oh, once you're an entrepreneur, you trade a 5 day a week for a 7 day a week,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there is some truth to that, right? Like
Right.
on
I
I
agree.
there are Saturdays, Sundays where I wake up and I'm like, I have some work to do, but I'm like pretty happy to do it. It's like I put 2 hours in. I go to Starbucks
Mm.
and work for that morning, and you still get the rest of the day free. Um,
Yeah.
I'd say on average, for this month, which was like a crazy busy month, still probably like 6 hour days. Like I didn't even go that deep, right? It's just like you wake up, you spend maybe 3 or 4 hours prepping, printing labels, packaging your packages, running to the post office, and then
Right.
you put another like 1 or 2 hours in
Yeah,
sourcing new product, finding the next item to sell,
exactly.
and that's pretty much it. It's still less, right, than
Mhm.
a 9 to 5, maybe a full time job, yeah, like maybe 30 to 40 hours range, but
Yeah,
nothing too
and there's
crazy.
like also just a lot of pros. Like if you're the type of person that you enjoy working from home and you don't want to drive to the office every day. I'm from California. We have like, the worst traffic, so your 9 to 5 is technically like more than 8 hours. It's going to be probably 11, 12, just because of the traffic. And being able to pick your own schedule. Like, yes, you do sometimes have to work more than 8 hours a day. Generally, you don't, just because it's a very capital intensive business. So if you just have capital, you can use it, and then once you spend all your capital, there's just no you're just kind of waiting and making packages and stuff like that. But yeah, you get to kind of pick your own schedule, right? Like if you want to take the day off, if you want to go play pickleball during the middle of the day, if you want to go see your parents, on a random Thursday, you can. And I think that is honestly for me the best aspect of it is like kind of the freedom to kind of pick your own schedule. Of course, like as human beings, like we need to work and make money because what else are we going to do with our time? But sometimes you want to take the day off. You want to take 2 days off, right?
Mhm.
And still be able to have that consistent cash flow because you're not using just your physical body to make money. You're using your knowledge and your capital, which is honestly an amazing feeling. And yeah, like it's kind of I know you're quarter four, you did pretty well. And it was just your first year. Like I always kind of say, in your first year of starting like a small online business, like most businesses don't even make money if not, they barely break even. So just being able to be profitable and actually make some pretty decent, I would say, full-time income, like that's probably a great feeling. Because yeah, in the grand scheme of things, like let's say you try to open a restaurant in your first year, like you're just hoping to break even, if that, and you're just hoping to keep the doors open, and just kind of survive to the next year. So I think your second year, it kind of really, there's like there's going to be I think a snowball thing where you're using your first year to kind of learn, because most of the year I think you were kind of learning like the first 3 to 4 months, and then you started to really figure it out and start scaling up, and then use all that knowledge for your quarter four. And I think 2026 you have basically the full year to work and build on your business here and everything like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess why did you pick like online arbitrage specifically? I know like you've probably seen there's a ton of ways to make money online.
yeah. Um, so for me, online arbitrage really just made sense. I think it's the most one of the most tangible businesses you could really work on, right? Like even somebody who's never touched a business, who's never sold an item in their life, kind of understands. Hey, if you could get this item at $5 and sell it at $20, you make money, right? Like
Yeah.
that's why garage sale flips and stuff like that
Hmm.
is so popular because everybody at a basic level understands how that works.
Right.
Versus I've worked on some stuff where it's advertising or whatnot, where you're just throwing money at it and then hopefully looking at some analytics to see why, finding out why it's working, but you're kind of
Yeah.
working in the dark, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
so for me, this is like a very straightforward business. As someone who I think is from like an immigrant family, we're always very cognizant about pricing and sales. Right? I've had so many times where I'm like, oh, I could really get this for $3, and I know this sells for $30, but what am I gonna do with like 10 of these things at $3? Or like, what am I even gonna do with one of these things at $3? And Amazon really created that avenue for me to like leverage that knowledge I already had or
Mm.
that I already did naturally, right? Like I've tried, selling on eBay, selling on Facebook Marketplace, and it's just you have to deal with people like a lot of people trying to either scam you, lowball you,
Right.
or eBay, the volume is just slow. You have no data to tell you when this is going to actually sell. So you just end up with a lot more inventory or items sitting
Yeah.
around. It's not really a business. It's really just like I hope to make some money off of this within the next month or next few months. So Amazon really allows you to speed up that timeline and have it function like a business.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, a lot of people have sold on eBay. A lot of people have sold on Facebook Marketplace, and it does work. Like you can make some money, but the scalability aspect is just not there. Um, because you're doing Facebook Marketplace, like you have to drive around with eBay. Like you're kind of just doing kind of one-off items. You're not really buying in bulk. And yeah, with Amazon, it is the number one e-commerce marketplace. Like everyone shops on Amazon, and you're not buying in the dark. Like you're using, software, Keepa, Celeram to really predict how fast and how profitable a product is when it sells. And once you get really good, you can kind of learn how to estimate how many products you should buy based off the chart and based off the history of the price and the demand over 3 months, 6 months, a whole year. And yeah, when you get like to an advanced level, like you can read the chart and really make very, very accurate, buying decisions, and you're not buying in the dark. And then your mistakes for purchasing product is like should be very, very minimal. Sometimes stuff happens, price does change sometimes, but for the most part, it's kind of like stocks, where like most of your time, once you get really good, it's going to be green, and sometimes you're going to have some stuff that you might be selling for a loss just because and something kind of happened. But generally, you're going to be 70 to 80% green, and that should cover all your losses, and you're going to be very, very profitable. um, but yeah, moving on. I guess when you first started, I know you were looking for a job here and everything like that, so maybe capital wasn't really um, in your favor. I guess tell us, how much money did you start off with?
Um, yeah, so in the very beginning, probably just somewhere from like 1 to 3,000, I think. I remember trying to make
Mm, okay.
actually, yeah, I was trying to make some purchase on some clothing items. I just remember saying uh $300 as the purchase price is that big, something that shocked me, right? And now it's
Yeah.
saying that I'm spending thousands of dollars on inventory without even blinking, right? Um, so in the beginning, yeah, capital is. I mean, I think throughout capital is often the limiting factor. Is how much you can spend to get inventory. Uh, I think you probably do want a few thousand to start this business. It is a spend money to make money kind of business. Personally, I did sell probably a few $1,000s of Bitcoin once it started getting going. So once past the first few months where I was just testing things out, probably put about $10,000 into the
Oh,
business.
nice. Okay, yeah, you're right. Exactly. It is in a business where you can start off with $0. Like, you're gonna need at least, like I said, $2,000 to $3,000, because you're gonna need to buy inventory. It's a Yeah, it's like you said, it's a spend money, make money kind of model. It's not You're not using like your hands, your physical labor. You're kind of using your money to buy inventory and then resell it for a higher profit. Um, but yeah, what would you tell people that wanted to start in 2026? We're right, literally 2 days away from 2026. There's probably gonna be a lot of people that want to start an online business, and everything. What would you tell people that kind of feel overwhelmed starting? Just because, yeah, once you start first learning Amazon, it's like kind of like the iceberg meme, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy is just reselling a product, and then like under the iceberg is like there's Keepa, there's Keepa, there's the whole Amazon platform, there's just ungating, there's just a lot of things that kind of go behind the scenes, that aren't really shown publicly, just because it's just easier to talk about just the Amazon business itself and not talk about the specific details unless you really get into it. So what would you tell people that are kind of overwhelmed starting? Because yeah, I remember when I first started, it was just I was like bombarded with like I thought it was like a kind of a simpler ish business, which it is, but
Mhm.
there's definitely a lot of like working gears that kind of you need to figure out before you can start really scaling it up.
Yeah. I think I would say. Well, first of all, you you should be overwhelmed, right? If it, I mean, like if you're starting a brand new business where you pretty much know very little, like nothing to very little about, and even someone as like from an engineering background where I read charts for a living,
Yeah,
like it's still like a learning process, right? There is a learning curve. There's a reason why not everybody is doing this, right? Um, so that's yeah. First of all, just embrace. You know what they say, embrace the suck, right? It's gonna be rough for a little bit. There's gonna be a lot of things you don't know,
yeah,
and you could either take the time, watch YouTube videos. There's a lot of free resources out there for you to learn from, um, or you could reach out. There's lots of people who do this business and are like honestly even pretty early stage on who are more than happy to like help someone else out. I think just pay it forward because
yeah,
once you start on it, once you've like done a few months, a year, you've realized like how rewarding this job is, but also how rewarding it is to help someone else succeed.
yeah,
Right? I personally helped
yeah,
uh, one of my buddies. So I have a part-time job with Monster Energy as a brand ambassador, and so one of my buddies from that job, he was very interested. Right? He was like, "Hey, how are you doing this?" I'm like, well, it's like, why are you still here if you're doing Amazon? I'm like, but we chop it up. We hang out at the Monster Warehouse, and I've helped him sell like his first few $1,000s of the product this past month on Amazon, and it was just amazing to see somebody else also
mhm,
work on the business, right? Like people
yeah,
in this business also often talk about, oh yeah, it gets lonely, right? You're the only person in your area who's doing this. Nobody else understands what you're doing. Having somebody else to kind of joke around about it or teach things to, it also helps
yeah.
with the process.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you're 100%. You kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Yeah, the business gets lonely, especially because it's you're like a solopreneur. If you want it to be like that, because you really don't have to talk to anyone. You don't really have to talk to anyone if you want to make money. Like you can just do the Amazon business and never, even see a person in your day to day. But you're just making it harder for yourself and making it less enjoyable for yourself. I think networking is super undervalued. I always stress it for my own students. I tell them, you guys, you can start posting on social media, and then a lot of them have, and they probably met some really cool people. So met some, some of them have their own students. Actually, a bunch of them have their own students, like King. I have another guy named Kingsley, Josh. They're all kind of putting on their own friends or just posting on social media and finding people to kind of pour their own knowledge that they've built this year into new people that are trying to learn, and it's just amazing kind of building that community of like kind of full circle kind of moment here and everything like that. And it just makes the business so much easier when people see your face and they get to know you, and they kind of you kind of become someone that you can learn from. And yeah, it's just making friends that are kind of interested in the same thing as you, which is online business. It's Yeah, you're not going to really find these type of people in your hometown. They're kind of all over the world, and the best way to do that is just post on social media, and you're going to find the like-minded people and everything like that. And personally for me, yeah, like I've met so many cool people that I've actually met in person. I've actually met some of my students in person because they kind of live around the same area as me. But I've met so many people that that I've met online in person, and we've and then ended up on a random Discord call and making thousands and thousands of dollars just because we kind of decided that we wanted to kind of work together and help each other scale the Amazon business on everything like that. But yeah, I think even for you, I think you've personally met one of the other students in Texas here and everything like that, and kind of played pickleball together. And that was cool.
Yeah, yeah, I met up with one of the guys on Discord when from the area he comes, and yeah, we were able to play some pickleball. I think just also when I joined your coaching group, that whole community really opened up a lot of things for
Yeah.
me, right? Like I share a VA with a couple of the guys,
Hmm.
and even that where we train the VA together, we
Right.
have the same lead. We really just push each other, right?
Right.
Where if we when we have the same lead, some people might be like, "Oh, that isn't that bad? Like,
Hmm.
aren't you just like cannibalizing each other, or
Right.
like aren't you creating more competition for each other?" But really, it's really just like another data point. Like when we
Yeah.
have those leads, one of sometimes maybe not, but only one of us thinks it's good, and we buy it,
Hmm.
and then we sell it, and it's moving a lot better than we thought. We usually pass that info along, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like use something that keep us telling you sells 50, 100 times a month, but in the last day you sold 10. You usually tell your buddy who's
Yeah. Yeah.
also about to sell it, and next thing you know, you've sold 100 over 100 of the item. So the community of really just working on stuff together, but also like pushing each other
Yeah.
too.
Right. Like the
We've made
motivation. Yeah.
fun, stupid bets.
Mm.
Like I think I'm out of the group. I'm a little older, and we have Peter, who's a high school student, Josh, who's a college student, and
Yeah.
I was just joking around with them where I'm like, hey, whoever makes the most this month gets to call the other two little bro
Yeah.
for all of next year.
Yeah.
And they went crazy with it. They really wanted to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
little bro pretty much.
I know that.
They were just buying all sorts of stuff during Black Friday and just work. I was honestly working the hardest we worked all year. Right? Like that's the only reason for why, or part of the only reason why I sold almost
Right.
$80,000
Hmm.
this month is because every day they're like, "Hey, we're hopping on the source
Yeah.
because we can't stop, we can't slow down, we got to keep going."
Mhm.
And it's not really that mindset that is brought on by you guys just pushing each other.
Right. Exactly. Just having that group chat with the boys. And you're gonna, once you start this business, whoever's watching this, like you're gonna make your own group chat with the boys and just hop on calls, really have that like friendly competition. It's just someone's like, if someone's in high school like Peter and he's doing like 10K revenue per day, and you're like, wait, he's the same person as me. I can do this too, and kind of just having that like, hey, like, I need to like lock in and get to this same level. And in in the grand scheme of things, like yeah, the like this it really shows how much the networking and how much the community and the group has really helped you guys, because all of you guys in that group have done around over, I think, over like 70,000. I think most of you guys hit like, yeah, like 75 to 80K in that group. So it kind of shows you that the knowledge was really there. Everyone kind of motivated each other and kind of just had that, that passion to make a lot of money in December and everything like that, right? Yeah, I think Josh did over 70, Peter did over 70, I
You're
believe.
over
So
70. Yeah.
so yeah, like it just really goes to show like that the whole networking community really can push you to greater lengths. Because I'm sure when you first started, like I don't think you realized that or thought that you would make a 15K profit month in your first year doing this business, right? And
We were just trying to get to our first 10K sales, which translates to just under 2K profit. That was the most exciting thing
yeah,
we
so
could think of. So
you smashed it. Yeah, you kind of the thing with the whole Amazon thing, maybe a little bit off topic, but it's just like you kind of have your goals or things set up for yourself, and then you might have like some crazy goals, but you're kind of slowly kind of breaking your own world belief of like how much money you can actually make, because most people have never made like over 10K in a single month. Most people have made 15K, and yeah, you're not going to make 10K or 50K your first month, but maybe the first month you do this business you make $500, right? And then the second month you make $1,000. So like you kind of slowly break your world beliefs, like, okay, yeah, if I can do $500 profit and then I could do $1,000 profit, like what's kind of stopping me from kind of doubling that and doing $2,000 profit, right? And it's like, wait, I just need to do like 20% more because I already have the knowledge, and kind of just put flick the levers that can scale, which is usually just buying more inventory and having like spend goals and everything like that. And then you're like, oh, $2,000 profit. Like, well, what's stopping me from doing $5,000 profit? And it's like, wait, I just have to do like 15% more effort, just because I already have the skills to hit 2K, right? And it's not really doubling the effort. It's just kind of learning which levers you need to just switch on to have the scalability aspect. And it's not necessarily the effort it takes to do a $2,000 profit month and like a $5,000 profit month and a $5,000 profit month to the $10,000 month. It's not like it's not 200% effort. It's literally just learning which pedals you need to put gas on and everything like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's always been really big on the back of my mind for like the last decade is how do I remove like time from money, right? Like you're saying, it's
Yeah,
normally people work and they're like, how do I make more money? I double the time, right?
exactly.
More
Yeah.
time. But in this business, in a lot of businesses, the goal is to remove that, right? Oh,
Mm,
I've worked 1 extra hour, but I doubled my income. And on, like you were saying, once you hit that $5,000 a month, you kind of understand, hey, this isn't just a side hustle anymore. This could actually be my
mm,
job where I can work just a few hours a day, and make enough to support myself
yeah.
and more, and still get to do all the things I love
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, you said it right. Like, if you had a normal job and you want to double your income, like the only thing you can, the lever you can only switch is your time, right? And obviously, I don't think if you're working a 40-hour week, if you work an 80-hour week, you're gonna just kill yourself. And I don't even know if that's like legal in that sense. But yeah, with the Amazon things, like if you want to double your income, it's just like what do I need to do besides from the time? It's just, usually it's buying more inventory, having like your daily spend goals, getting in some VAs, getting a prep center, and kind of just taking out your time so you can focus on the higher leverage stuff and managing and just thinking about what it takes to scale it up to the next level, right? It's not necessarily just putting double the time into it. And I think if you're doing double the time into it, it's just you're kind of probably going to be working in the reverse effect where you're just going to be spending too much time doing the low ROI stuff and not being able to think about the stuff that's going to take your business from 5K to 10K, and everything like that. But yeah, what was your first big win, and what kind of showed you that you can actually change your life and make some actual full-time income from this?
Yeah, for me, this was twofold. So the first one was when I was following those free YouTube videos. And I remember just following along on a sourcing video where Miles pulled up, hey, you can buy these cuddle duds off of Belk for this price and sell it on Amazon for this price. And I literally opened that and I was like, this is still the case right now.
Mhm.
Bought those, shipped them all into Amazon, and I made my first sale of maybe like
Nice.
$5, and then they kept selling until I made a few $100s, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, this I've got my proof of concept. This is real." Right? That was my
yeah, yeah.
first.
The first one is always the unlock. Like, oh, wait. It's like not just like me watching a video from some guy doing it. It's like I did it myself. Like,
Exactly, yeah. So I put that into practice and got that first up, and then right, I hit that first barrier of how do I find the next thing? I
yeah,
think, and so the next thing was after I joined up in the group, and my monthly sale went from like $1,500 to like $8,000 the next month, where
yeah,
I really learned what it took to source or how to find products off of other sellers. Um, and
mhm,
that kind of clicked in my mind where, oh, like we were saying, I've made almost $2,000 a month, and I know how to make 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and now, right, it's essentially a full time income.
yeah, yeah. We kind of underestimate like um how much like simple knowledge really can switch it up. I think for you when you came and kind of learned from me, I think you were at like very inconsistent months. Like some days you wouldn't even make any sales at all. I think you were around like maybe under 1,000, if not around $1,000 in revenue. And then like the second month you joined, I was like, hey, like you honestly just need to do this, and this. And it's like, hey, King, like if you want to, hit like 5K revenue, or like I think you wanted to hit, yeah, I think I wanted you to hit 10K, but I think you wanted to, shoot a little under. I was like, hey, if you want to do 5K, like this is what you need to spend on inventory every single month and break it down per day, right? And you don't have to spend that per day, but just have like that average. And it's like if you just do that, then then you can have like that consistent effect of like, okay, if I spend X amount per month, I'm gonna hit 5K revenue. If I spend X amount a month, I'm gonna hit 10K revenue, right? Because kind of breaking down that formula, and it's like, okay, you need to do that, and then what else do you need to do? Of course, you're gonna need to find inventory. This is what you need to do: find inventory, find the sellers that are already doing that are already selling the products you want to sell, and just literally copy their storefronts. And and then find products that way. And then I think those two things really just can take you from 1K. I think the next month you did like 8 to 10,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like 8x, 10x your sales in just about 30 to 45 days from just a couple simple, knowledge unlocks and simple strategies, right?
Yeah, it was that point. It was that point. I remember that message you told me. Spend $500 a day, and I remember at that point, like I was saying, every time I spent 100 or 300, I was like, "There's a lot of money. How are you spending 500 every single day?"
Yeah.
But I did it, and it paid off. It paid off
Yeah.
really.
And then you just use that same formula. It's like, okay, 10K, right? And then what do you need to do 20K? What do you need to do 30K? It's like, and then if you see like King's graph, it's literally like just a straight up. And there's like some months where it's like a little
Almost
down.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost
It's
perfect.
like you kind of just slowly unlock what it takes. Like you're like it's kind of like unlocking the next level. Like, okay, I did 20K this month. What's stopping me from doing 30K? Like what's stopping me from doing 50K? Right? It's just basically just the same things, just a little bit just more inventory and everything like that. But yeah, I think what are your plans for um 2026? Actually, let's talk about before we talk about that. It is December 30th, so you just had your record month by almost, I would say, close to double. I think your best month before that was like 40.
40, yeah, 40
So
something.
close, almost not quite double, but close.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just kind of talk about your expectations for the month because I was kind of hyping it up. I was like, December is the best month to sell. You're gonna have a record month. Everyone's gonna have a record month, and I think everyone did. But yeah, just kind of talk about your expectations and kind of what it looked like while you were in the FBM trenches, and yeah, and everything like that.
Yeah, I'd say I definitely, now that I have that lived experience, I get the Q4 that everybody was talking about, right?
Yeah, like
Up
the
to that
hundred
point, it's like,
like the 100 orders per day type of thing,
oh
and
yeah, constantly day to day, yeah. And it's hard to understand it until you lived it, and you said those exact words
yeah,
many many times. Where like I can't really tell you what it's like until you experience what it's like.
yeah,
And yeah, it was very exciting, and very tiring.
yeah,
Uh, but I think I think like I was saying, I'm not the most ambitious guy I know, right? And I'm never gonna be that guy who's like, "Hey, I got a new Lambo," or "Hey, I'm doing this," right? I really just got into this because I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life,
mhm,
and I'm happy making like 5, 10K a month moving forward. And so, I think that's like very viable, even just doing pretty much the same amount of work I've been doing. So, like looking forward, and the other thing I really like about this business is that everything is very piecemeal.
yeah,
And what I mean by that is like every piece of the business is simple enough that you could get someone to take care of it, right? So we're talking about how I have VAs for sourcing, right? It's a small piece of a puzzle where you can pay someone a little bit of money to take care of them. And the same thing moving forward. We spent a lot of time preparing our products to ship to Amazon. You could get a prep center to do that, and pay them a little bit of money. And so you'll still essentially you'll make more, right? Or you'll make the same amount or more with almost with none of the work. You don't have soon you're not touching the products, you're not
mhm,
storing them all in your house, right? Making a mess, which is like probably very common year one, is like I sacrificed my house
yeah,
for this business, but you get a prep center and you don't have
yeah,
that. Um, and every piece of the business essentially you're able to do that with until you're barely touching it, right? You're just kind of like a manager. You're just managing some of the pieces, spending an hour, right, making sure everything is running smoothly, oiling the gears of the machine,
yeah,
and that's it. And you're able to do like something else that you enjoy while this is kind of running on its own, which is
mm,
kind of honestly, it's kind of just insane to think about, right?
yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, just eventually, once you slowly build your systems, We'll talk about that for your plans for next year. Prep center VAs are the main levers you can pull to save a lot of time because prep center is going to help you pack your products, send it to Amazon's warehouses instead of you having to do it yourself. And your virtual assistants are going to source for you because sourcing takes kind of the most time in the business. And once you have those two kind of things mainly um, outsourced out, then you kind of can just be, like I said, a manager and just make sure it's running smoothly, that your VAs are actually doing the work, that your prep centers are doing the work, and then yeah, you can work out. You can work from wherever you want in the world. I personally do enjoy traveling, and you can eventually just run it from your laptop and actually make true online money right here and everything like that, and actually good online money, and then you can use that arbitrage to travel the world, and I've done that personally. I think King is going to do that in January here and everything like that. But yeah, it's great, and um, I think I had like a small bet. I've been kind of doing small bets to help the students kind of feel a little bit more motivated to work hard. I had like a $500 bet to someone to hit a 75K month, and the funny thing is, everyone was really close. I think King was behind by a good amount in the beginning, but he was more of like a slow and steady guy, and he won it. I think the closest person was at 73, so he really surpassed that. Slow and
Mhm.
steady hit that 75, and I think that was like a perfect, honestly, a perfect like
Wow.
bet. 'Cause I was like 75, like it's like hard, but it's not like impossible, and it was like yeah, like almost like the perfect
Perfect
milestone that
line. Yeah,
yeah,
you should
perfect,
go work for
yeah,
Vegas, man.
yeah, I was like, "Dang," I was like, 70K, I was like, maybe I was like thinking about it, I was like, "What if I put 100 and would people be close to 100K?" Uh, if I was like, "Hey, I'll put in, $500 if someone hits 100K." I'm wondering if people would have worked harder to hit 100K, but it was like perfect, like almost everyone perfectly hit 75K rev. But yeah, and then yeah, King won $500, so that was nice, probably a nice little
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what other, where else can you get money? I mean, for
for just
making money, right? Like,
yeah,
just do
like
it.
I taught you how to do the business, and then I'm paying you to,
Make money for myself, right?
yeah,
Like,
make
normally
money for
you get a
yourself.
bonus for your job sometimes, but
Yeah, yeah,
usually you're making money for
yeah. But I
another
just like a
person.
fun little,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like a fun little thing, and it kind of helps me out, just having like people that are active in the community and really just having that friendly competition. It should pay off for me in some sense, and just having that community. And King actually, funny enough, he helped. I run a lower ticket server, and he's been running a call in there. Not as a recent because everyone's kind of doing holidays, but I think 2026 we're really going to start to scale that up together. And I'm really excited for that because it's nice to, King was a stranger to me, and I think we've kind of built this relationship, business relationship, and kind of helping me plan out my own content, my own coaching, and just helping me give me ideas. And it's cool, like to have like a online business friend that, you know, less than a year ago I didn't even know he existed. So it's cool that yeah, he helps me run a call and everything down. We have big plans for 2026 here, and he's actually made money from that too. Funny enough, so with affiliates and just the coaching money as well. But awesome. Yeah, yeah, in terms of 2026 here, I know this call is actually a little bit longer than expected, so we kind of wrap it up here. But yeah, for 2026 and oncoming, what kind of goals do you have? I know you're, also just traveling in January as well. So you kind of talk about that and just what do you want for your own business and everything.
Yeah, I think just an easy goal I'll set for myself is probably 100K profit.
Awesome.
I think that's essentially what I was looking for in my role as a software engineer up to
Mhm.
this point. So I think that's kind of always in the back of my mind is like, hey, can I replace a job that I was going to have? Outside of that, um, like we were talking about before, up until Q4, the year is a little slower. We're able to work maybe, half the time, maybe a little bit more than that. So I'm pretty excited to hopefully help some more people, maybe learn a little bit more about the business. I think like you were talking about, I'm happy to, excited to host those calls. Like I remember some of those calls I've had almost 20 people. Just
Yeah,
it's fun learning about how
yeah,
to source, how to read a chart, and it's really cool to have that energy of people who I've never seen this before, and are like, yeah, this was actually really helpful in learning more about Amazon, and getting all that feedback is very nice. Um, and yeah, definitely travel more. It's like,
Yeah,
there's, I have that flexibility. I need to put it to good use, and then the underrated perk of the
yeah,
business is either cashback or for me a lot of
points.
points. So
You,
take
you
advantage.
talked to us recently with the points. I think you have like what 500K or something
Yeah,
like
this year I didn't even get my business credit card until June or July, and I had over 600,000 points.
that. Yeah,
So paying for a trip to Japan in January, and probably definitely a few more down the line.
yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited for us to be working together and just other server and just seeing you kind of grow your own business in 2026. Because I think the first year is honestly more of like a testing learning phase, even though you can make some pretty good money. But you're gonna have a lot of first experiences, like your first, back to school, your first, Q4, your first, Easter, whatever. Then 2026 is like, or the next year, it's like now you've kind of understood and realized what it looks like, and then now you know how to prepare for it, and just the second one is always going to be like a snowball effect, and it's going to be like a 5x, 10x because you already know what to expect, right? And yeah, we're ready to build a better community, a bigger community in 2026, and just have people learn how to sell on Amazon and make some, if not, they want to make a side hustle income. If not,
Sure.
make some full time income. Because, like I said, if King can do it randomly as an unemployed dude, Peter can do it as a high schooler. Josh can do it while he's studying in college. I think most people can do it if they just put in the time and effort
Yeah.
it takes, right?
Make some money off of Amazon together, man.
Yeah, and awesome. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. I think King, like I said, has been posting a lot of content about his day to day with the whole Amazon thing. I think his at right there is Everyday Hustle King. So give him a follow if you can. And yeah, I really appreciate you for hopping on this call with me, and um, I hope you have a great time in Japan. And let's get to it in 2026,
Yeah.
man. All right, everyone. Peace, peace, peace.
Thank you. Thank you.